probably one of the transformers out here. But we came down to show you guys the parking garage, or the first floor of it. Again, the water is rising. Since the last time we were down here, it's actually gotten higher, and you can see the water is actually basically carrying these cars and trucks and crashing them into one another. You can see that, and often we'll hear them kind of hit each other. The lights are on this truck. No one's in there. It's just the water that's pretty much messing with the electrical system.
If you are going to evacuate and find one of those shelters, now is the time to do it. Nate has sped up. Nate is coming. Nate will be here sometime between 10 and 12 tonight with winds gusting as high as 100 miles an hour.
A ham radio operator says that the tornado is moving through Orange Beach at this time, with several exclamation points in our chat room. So once again, I'm sorry, what was that, Brandon? Okay, we have some video of that, so I assume we're going to be going to that now. But again, we have a couple of reports. There we go. You can see that water spout, and kind of a large water spout. This is okay, yeah, so a large water spout there. But again, this has now moved inland, according to a ham operator there with the National Weather Service. Again, we're in this chat room there, and a very ominous looking water spout at that, but it has now moved inland. So it is on the ground moving through Orange Beach. So in addition to, of course, Hurricane Nate that is causing this, we now have a tornado on the ground in South Baldwin County. So a dire situation here. We're going to continue to follow it. And yeah, there you go. That video is quite impressive. So those of you in extreme South Baldwin County, primarily right now between Orange Beach and Foley, that territory, that real estate, you need to take your tornado shelters right now.
The storm, Hurricane Nate, has officially made landfall near the mouth of the Mississippi River. And we were looking at the radar and saying that it was going to be very close and perhaps just brushing by the mouth of the Mississippi River. And so they are calling it, apparently they're calling it an official landfall near the mouth of the Mississippi River in Louisiana. And that secondary landfall still anticipated later on tonight along the coast of Mississippi.
Chris was talking about the fact that the last damage that our buddy Lance Crawford showed us at Schillinger was a big billboard that fell down. Let's get Lance up right now. Lance, he said that that possibly was a quick spin-up tornado, and this damage that you have there looks like it very well could be as well.
Happened here. Let's face it, it hasn't been terrible in most places tonight, but here something extreme happened. This is actually a commercial air conditioning unit that had blown off the roof of this strip mall that's right behind the camera right here. You look up here, the window is broken in this building, broken out. Again, this is a good-sized commercial air conditioning unit. It was blown completely off the roof. And then if we go back over here, this tree here, the branches have been snapped off. Good-sized branches have been snapped off. And then, of course, the big billboard that we talked about earlier here. Also, I'm going to send it back to you guys now. There's more damage on the other side of this building. We're going to go get a shot of that, but we're going to go around to some other reporters, and you're going to come back to us. Again, something happened here, a microburst, something touched down here, did a lot more damage in this particular spot. We're, again, on Airport Boulevard, just east of Schillinger's, across from Skiko Automotive. And we're going to come back to us, and you can see the other side of this building that's just over my shoulder here is damaged pretty good. And so, guys, we're going to send it back to you in the studio. We'll talk to you again in just a few moments.
We're just a little bit before 8 o'clock right now. I'm going to reset a little bit. The storm did make landfall in South Louisiana. Winds right now, sustained 80 miles an hour, gusts of 90. It's moving north at about 20 miles an hour.
All right. Of course, we're keeping you updated for everything that is going on here. We are going. Is it Christian who's outside
Yes.
of Christian Jennings is outside of Dolphin Island right now? Christian.
Hey, you guys. That's right. We're here at the foot of the Dolphin Island Bridge, which is still open. But I don't know if I'd want to drive over it right now because, as you can see, the winds, they are intense. The water keeps pushing up here. And actually, we just moved our news vehicle a little further away because the waves were pushing the water underneath our vehicle. You can see this wave action. I mean, it is really incredible how intense it's gotten just in the past few minutes. I thought it was bad earlier when we did our live shot, but man, this is a lot worse. And I just seconds ago spoke with the mayor of Dolphin Island on the phone. Actually, we've been talking by text, and okay, we are getting beat up. He told me that they still have about 4 feet at least of water on the west end on Vehicle Boulevard. Wow. Okay, yeah, that up as well. I mean, you look at that wind, you guys. If you can see that in the distance there with the light and the trees blowing, this is really incredible.
We talked to Lance Crawford just a minute ago. He said he was going to go to the other side of the building and give us an update on the damage over there. Lance, are you there?
Yeah, we are here. Here's the other side of the building, guys. Again, something happened just right here. Take a look at this. The entire brick facade here on the west side of this building has just fallen off here. You can see the window frame right here is blown out. If we look up there, you can see the window completely exposed. Those are the blinds. The attic area is completely wide open here. The trees on the backside of this, some big oak trees that branches snapped maybe 30 feet off the ground, snapped off. But what's amazing, right next door, the Goodwill store, isn't damaged at all. It seems to be all in this entire area. This is the same area where the big billboard we talked to you about had fallen over. So it's about 100 yards swath here that really suffered damage. Nothing appears to be damaged outside of that area. So I don't know, a little microburst or some sort of small tornado touched down here, but certainly did damage to this building. Again, we're tripping over bricks because all of it has come down here and the windows have been knocked out on this side as well as the other side, guys. So again, may not be a major tornado or a major hurricane, excuse me. You still can have some damage. And again, this going to have a lot of cleanup and a lot of work to do to get this repaired, guys.
Well, you're not kidding, Lance, and our meteorologists have been watching along with us that damage there, and they say probably was a small tornado that did whip up with those first outer bands, those first squalls that came in as Nate started approaching our part of the Gulf. All right, let's go to Muriel Bailey right now. Muriel is in Biloxi, Mississippi, which is much closer to where Nate is actually going to make landfall. Muriel?
Well, Greg and Kim, I can tell you right now, the big thing here is the wind. That is the biggest thing. We're getting some rain, but it's the wind that's making it really hard. You can see how everything is kind of blowing around right now. The trees, everything is blowing. We had to move to a safer location, and right now we're by the Hard Rock Cafe near the marina. And again, the biggest part right now, the hardest part of this is just to be in the wind, and with it blowing so hard, once the rain hits you, it almost stings every time it hits you because it's coming so fast. But the good part about it right now is that no one's out and about walking around, and that's because the Harrison County area is under curfew, and that curfew started at 7 o'clock tonight and it ends tomorrow morning at about 9. All of the casinos here are closed, so that is good as well. No one's actually out and about kind of playing around in this. But again, the biggest thing right now is that wind. Of course, we'll be out here pretty much all night monitoring these conditions, and we'll bring you more from here in Biloxi as well. Reporting in Biloxi, Muriel Bailey, NBC 15 News.
All right, Muriel, thanks so much. And once again, we've asked all of our reporters to make sure they stay in safe locations, because although they might be able to withstand the rain and the wind, there are things that are going to be flying. There are going to be things that are airborne. That's a big problem during a hurricane, that's for sure.
Well, they're out because they are bringing you the latest on the conditions so that you do not have to be out in the elements. So make sure that you are hunkered down into a safe place. Let's remind you again that there is a mandatory curfew in effect for Orange Beach and Gulf Shores from 8 o'clock tonight until 6 o'clock in the morning. It's voluntary for other parts of Baldwin County. Let's go to NBC 15's Corey Pippen, who is standing by in Gulf Shores. And Corey, you were like in the same situation with Muriel. The wind was just blowing you over earlier.
Greg, Kim, it was intense. Right now we're being blocked by the building here, but I just want to step out and show you, if we do step into the wind, just the significant difference here. I mean, you probably have a little trouble hearing me. The wind is just, it's deafening out here, and of course you were mentioning it earlier, the rain stinging your face is not fun to be outside, and that's why, thankfully a lot of folks are not outside right now, hopefully inside enjoying some warmth and definitely dry situation. But I'm going to let you look right here just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with as far as storm surge. I mentioned it earlier. I'm trying to show you this right here. Just take a look at what's going on right now. This was all beach. It's not anymore. It's all water. And that water has just been churning and churning. It's gotten to the point where it's come up to the concrete at the public beach access. And I went over there a second ago and just to check out, safely of course, check out how
deep that water is, and it comes up to my knees. I didn't go all the way to the sand, but you can see the water has been churning up this sea foam stuff. It's just disgusting. You know, obviously a bad situation with the storm surge out here, and of course that's a danger. We're going to continue to watch that. I mentioned it earlier. You know, watching this, how quickly that water has just churned up and gotten right here to the public beach access. It definitely makes you concerned. If this keeps going, who knows how high that water could get.
Christian, I understand you're heading back towards Mobile, and you had a rough ride, didn't you?
We did, and I hope I never experience a drive like that again, to be honest with you. So let me just tell the viewers so that you don't experience it yourself, do not try and go down to Dolphin Island. The causeway leading on to Dolphin Island, so the causeway that heads toward that bridge, you know, the bridge is still open, but the causeway is impassable. And we found out the hard way. We found out when it was too late. We started driving back to Mobile, and at first it looked okay. But then in the video that you're seeing, if you're seeing it, I'm not sure, but the video that I sent back from our phone, it's not even doing it justice for how frightening that drive was, because there was debris everywhere. In addition to the waves you're seeing splash on our car, there were massive logs blocking the roadway, and you know it's so dark sometimes you don't see it until you get right up on it. Just mounds of debris and just boulders and just branches, logs. I mean, you name it. So it was not a fun drive. We will not be heading back that way, but learn from us and do not try and go toward Dolphin Island. The causeway is impassable. It is dangerous. And it threw us off because we actually had seen a car that started driving onto the bridge before we went and headed toward Mobile, and so we thought we were okay. And I'd reached out to the mayor, and he texted me back when we were in the middle of driving on the causeway there. So anyway, we got through it. We are fine. We are safe, and we are about to be back towards the Mobile area. But again, if you're just tuning in, Dolphin Island Causeway impassable, so just stay away from that area.
Very dangerous situation. Christian, we are so glad that y'all are okay. Look at that, water's just lapping over there. Do not go that way.
Yeah, we talked to the mayor live a little earlier, Dauphin Island Mayor Jeff Collier, and he said that as long as that causeway leading to the bridge was passable, the bridge would be open. Well, bridge is not open right now.
We're going for about 11 o'clock, 11:30 landfall along the coast of Mississippi. And again, because that's to the west, we're on the east side of the storm, and that's the bad side to be on. And that's the side where we could see tornadoes as well as the storm surge and these bands of heavy rain.
Christian, tell us about what happened. Do they think this fire was weather related?
Well, Greg and Kim, it's too soon to tell. They just don't know. They have an investigator that just arrived on scene, so he'll be looking to see what the cause is. But we really have no idea what caused this fire. But it's definitely a bit of a challenge for firefighters to deal with a situation like this in the midst of a hurricane, dealing with rain and winds. It was actually this trailer right here behind me that was fully engulfed in flames, we're told, when firefighters arrived here in this trailer park off of Gun Road here in Mobile County.
I got 2 of my dogs out, and then the other 2 died. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That was the only thing I had right there, and now I'm homeless.
Bless your heart, sir. I'm so sorry, but I'm so glad you're okay. I'm so sorry about your pets. You said 2 of your dogs passed away?
I had a puppy about 6 weeks old, and I got one of them out, and then I got my Jack Russell out, but the female that had the pups, she died, and one of the pups died.
Sir, I want to just give you a hug. I'm glad you're okay. I am, yeah. That's scary stuff, so glad you both are okay. I'm sorry about your animals. That's so frightening and so sad.
I don't know what I'm going to do now, so...
I know your neighbor said that he's going to let you stay with him tonight, especially in this weather, so that's really sweet. I wish you the best, sir. So just a heartbreaking situation here off of Gun Road. As you can see, firefighters still very active on the scene here as they investigate how this fire started. But you heard from a gentleman here. He believes he knows the cause here. So we'll stay out here for a little while longer as they begin their investigation. But all of the people here are okay.
Wanted to give you an update right now on Hurricane Nate. You can see it behind us over our shoulders right now. It is getting close to landfall. The eye now just 20 miles south of Mississippi, the Biloxi and Gulfport area, 20 miles away. It's moving at 20 miles an hour to the north, so even I can do that math. We're an hour away from landfall.
Coming very closely here. Let's go now to NBC 15's Corey Pippen, who is in Gulf Shores, where it's really whipping up there. Corey?
Yeah, Greg, Kim, you know, I mentioned the calming effect that seemed to be taking place earlier. Well, that is completely gone now. We're again back to seeing some of the worst conditions that we've seen yet. I'm going to take a step out. You can hear it. I mean, it's back. That severe wind, that whipping rain, that is back, and it is back in full force. And this is right here on Gulf Shores Public Beach, right at the public beach access point. Now, that all was sand, that all was beach, and that is completely covered by what appears to be around a foot of water. Earlier, we went walking into that, and it went up to my knee when I stepped into it. So that surge continues to push forward. It hasn't been lapping up over towards us like it did earlier, but there are fences, and there is actually just a wave that came rushing in here. You can see that right there, the waves of the storm surge that keeps pushing towards us. And there are fences here on the beach that were in place before this storm. A number of them have been completely wiped out from this. So a number of these fences have been taken out. All the storm surge continues to push right here on Gulf Shores Public Beach.
That's video right there of Biloxi, and our reporter Muriel Bailey is also in Biloxi. She's been hunkered down in the parking garage there at the casino, the Hard Rock. And Muriel, I know that the conditions have really gotten worse over the last 20 or 30 minutes, right?
They have, Greg. They've changed tremendously. I mean, it's like a different picture here right now. We're on the second floor of the parking garage, but you can look down here at the first floor. It is completely flooded. I'm actually looking at a car right now that's sitting in water. It's a black car. It's pretty much just completely covered almost, and I see several things just floating around in the water out here as well. And this just goes to show how within the last hour or hour and a half, conditions have just totally changed out here. We came here to move to a safer spot, and if the water looks like it's going to continue to rise, we'll move up to the third floor here as well. But the wind is still going strong. The water, of course, as you can see, it's rising here, but everyone right now is inside. They did have a curfew, and it's from 7 until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. But just looking at how high the water is here to cover the complete first floor of the parking garage and start to move up towards the second floor as well, that just goes to show you, I mean, just how much it's flooding over here. And we kind of expected that, but I didn't think that it would get all the way like this on the first floor of the parking garage. But again, we are in a rather safe location. It's just that we'll just monitor this and make sure the water doesn't continue to rise here. But of course, we'll be here to bring you guys updates. Reporting live in Biloxi, Muriel Bailey, NBC 15 News.
There's the golden nugget, and that's exactly what we were talking about just a couple of minutes ago, whether or not this storm surge was affecting the lower levels of the casinos. And there's a pretty good evidence right there that the golden nugget is getting a little tarnished tonight.
This is again a Category 1 storm, and that eye is pretty much getting ready to come on shore, and you can see that's going to be a lot of damage. When it's all over and those flood waters recede, that entire bottom floor is going to have to be redone.
Yeah, those are the kind of scenes that we are certainly used to seeing during hurricanes. And just as fast as this water comes on shore, it will be receding probably within the hour as the entire eye goes north and this storm becomes a tropical storm. And the surge recedes, but boy, it can do a lot of damage in a big hurry. That is salt water you're looking at right there. It's not cleaning the place. It leaves a big mess. behind. There's no doubt about it. And this scene, of course, is being repeated all along the Mississippi coast right now. No doubt, the highest of the storm surge. Storm chaser Brandon Clement has been showing us those photos from Biloxi all night long. And Brandon, talk about how those conditions have deteriorated over just the last 30 minutes.
Well, I'm actually in Pascagoula now. I was in Biloxi a little earlier, but last 30 minutes has gone downhill really quickly. Right now is actually not as bad. I think we're getting really close to the eye. I've noticed in a lot of hurricanes, when you get real close to the eye wall, you'll have these real big pulse, almost like gusts, and then it'll lighten up. But about 5 minutes ago, it was just really sustained. I'm easily hurricane force winds.
You can see that Highway 90 here in Biloxi is just completely flooded, and it's all the way down as far as I can see. This entire area is just flooded, so we're pretty much just surrounded by water right now, and it seems to be pretty deep. Lots of signs that I saw earlier are pretty much covered now, and lots of things, as you can see, kind of floating around in the water as well. No one's outside. That's good. Everyone's inside right now, kind of hunkering down. And I've seen some security and some employees here at the Hard Rock, and they're inside just kind of monitoring things and peeping out, looking at us to make sure we're okay. But it seems they do have a generator on here as well, because the lights have gone out in this parking deck, but then they came back on a few minutes later. But again, just really bad conditions here right now. Lots of wind, some rain, and as you can see, lots of flooding here as well. So we'll continue to stay here in the parking deck since we can't really get around right now, but we'll continue to monitor conditions and stay safe out here as well, guys.
And we didn't see it that time, but the last time she showed one of her live shots, they panned down and showed that the entire first floor of that parking garage was flooded. So we're talking about a storm surge there, probably in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 feet. Keesler Air Force Base right there in Biloxi, just reporting wind gusts of 70 miles an hour. So all those brave men and women who go up in the storm chaser, the hurricane hunters, the hurricane's coming to them. All they have to do is sit in their plane on the tarmac right now, and they can experience a hurricane in their hurricane hunter planes.
Those rainfall amounts, wow. This is the first time I'm seeing this update. 7 inches of rain in Gulf Shores, and it's still raining.
Well, let's go to NBC 15's Muriel Bailey, who is in Biloxi right now. She was stationed at the Hard Rock Casino at their parking garage where the water was rapidly rising. Muriel?
Yeah, Kim, we actually just heard a loud boom. We're guessing that's probably one of the transformers out here. But we came down to show you guys the parking garage, or the first floor of it. Again, the water is rising. Since the last time we were down here, it's actually gotten higher. And you can see the water is actually basically carrying these cars and trucks and crashing them into one another. You can see that, and often we'll hear them kind of hit each other. The lights are on this truck. No one's in there. It's just the water that's pretty much messing with the electrical system. And every now and then we'll hear some horns honking, and that's pretty much the water, again, messing with the cars that are down on the first floor. But again, the water is seeming to rise here on the first deck. It has not gotten up to the second. We are still clear. We are still dry. But you can take a look right here as well. There's actually a car. Not sure if you can see it, but there's an SUV, and there's something else that's white right here that has floated over to this area. That car wasn't there before, but this water is pretty much carrying everything. We're just surrounded by water. Highway 90 is completely flooded as well. So the Hard Rock pretty much is just sitting in the middle of a bunch of flood waters. But again, we are safe, and we are on the second floor of this parking deck, and we'll continue to monitor this water for ourselves as well, just to make sure in case we need to move up a little higher again. So reporting live in Biloxi, Muriel Bailey, NBC 15 News.
Muriel, what about the casino itself? I know we saw a video earlier of the Golden Nugget Casino, and flood waters were rushing into that first floor. You're in the parking deck, but any word on inside of the casino?
I do not know if it's inside of there. I did see the Golden Nugget video, and some of the water actually was crashing into there. But I mean, I'm guessing by it covering the first floor of this parking deck like this, it probably has gotten in there somehow. I'll check with some of the security. Okay, we just went black out here. I'll check with some of the security to see if they've gotten some inside. But guys, we're going to go ahead and move up since it's really dark down here, okay?
We were telling you about Muriel Bailey, who had to seek high shelter because of the fact that that water was coming up so quickly in Biloxi there. And Muriel, don't know whether you've heard or not, but Biloxi, the official ground zero of this storm, it came ashore there, and you experienced it when it did.
Oh. Okay, wow, that actually explains a lot then, because like I said, we weren't expecting this parking deck to get flooded. We actually thought that we were being smart coming here to the parking garage. We could be inside, be enclosed, and be a little safe and still show the water. But like I said, once everything started to pick up, we walked down here and we just saw all of this, the first floor just pretty much completely flooded here. And Reedy's going to turn around to show what we see, and this is pretty much what we've been showing you guys. The water seems to be receding, though. It is not rising anymore. Actually, at first looking out onto the boating docks, we were not able to see some of the poles and stuff that's out there, but we can actually see those now. You can see the white and black poles that are out there. So it seems to be receding just a little bit here, which is good news because we were worried that we would have to go onto the third floor. But right now, that seems to be one of the good things coming from this right now. We will be able to get out of here at some point soon, hopefully. But standing right here, I can actually hear these car horns going off and sounding. You guys may not be able to hear it, but we can just hear that, and it's echoing in throughout the parking deck here as well. And again, that's coming from the water. No one's in there. I've had several people tweet me asking me if someone was in there. No one's in there. Those were parked cars, and the water is pretty much just carrying them around and crashing them into one another and messing with the electrical system there. That's why you see those lights lighting up on that truck. But again, the water seems to be receding here, and we are on the second floor of the deck, so we are safe. Our car is fine and everything else, but we'll continue to be out here until we are able to drive away from this. But Highway 90 is flooded as well right now, so of course we'll continue to just monitor these conditions out here, guys.